Welcome to Through the Lens of Astrology. I'm your host, Heather Ariel, and this is the summer solstice episode. Okay, yeah, and I'm a summer solstice baby, so it's especially significant to me. And whenever there is a solstice or an equinox, I do always make a pretty big deal of it because remember, it is not just the changing of a zodiac sign. It brings in a whole new season, so it involves transitional energy. And whenever there is transitional energy, I do say we need to be extra present with it because it is easier to kind of feel a little wonky, right? It's just easier to just not quite be as in balance as we naturally are. And this is all about, right? Are we in balance or could we be a little bit more in balance? So, okay, so summer solstice, yeah, we welcome Cancer energy. We begin to celebrate the watery energy of Cancer, which is so sensitive. It is the most personal energy in the zodiac. Now, water signs can get very personal because water signs are feeling. It's what do you feel, right? Feelings are not logical, right? Feelings are not, and let me got a lot of air. Then you'd be like, well, let me think what I feel. Okay. But when you really connect to water, you just feel it. It's intuitive, it's compassionate, it's empathetic. Okay. So with the sun now in watery Cancer, we do want to connect to our feelings, connect to our gut, connect to our instincts, right? And so we don't discount. It doesn't mean we discount everything else, but make sure you don't discount that. So it's you want to make sure that it's, think about, I talk about let's be inclusive, not exclusive. Oh, there's a great Hillary Clinton quote I'm going to share that is about that. So it's when I'm talking, I'm saying let's bring this in. It's not saying we got to like destroy this or that. Let's just try to incorporate some of these gifts. All right. And if you have Cancer energy in your chart, yeah, it's your time to step up to the plate and contribute your gifts to the group because that's what it's about. Remember, each sign evolves, it transmutes into the next sign, every sign. It's no sign is better than any other sign, but we all need to contribute those energies, the energy of each sign, to really make, for a holistic approach, right? So we can unify the group and have the group work together, whether it's a business relationship, a romantic relationship, or a friendship, a project, whatever it is you're doing. You want to make sure your step is not skipped. Now we're going to do a summer solstice oracle spread to help bring in the nurturing energy of the summer solstice. And the summer solstice energy is good for several months until we get to the fall equinox. So, you know what? We've had the last two moons we had a big new moon in Taurus and new moon in Gemini, both coincided with eclipses, which meant that energy it gets extended. So the energy that got kicked off with those two new moons, the last two moons we've had, is good for several months. And we did oracle card spreads for those. So you can check out my social media, Heather Ariel's House of Astrology, my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube. And you can see because I take pictures of the spreads and I put them on the social media. So if you want to do a check-in, because those messages are still valid. Now we're going to incorporate watery, sensitive, receptive Cancer energy and messages. So here's the Cancer sign. This is a card. Now, these cards are from the Fundamentals of Astrology Oracle deck that I created with artist Tom Cummins. So these watercolors, yeah, are by that artist. And so, you see it's a very nurturing image, right? It's loving and nurturing. It's a mother and child. Okay. So at the heart of Cancer energy is we want to nurture ourselves as well as nurture others. And there's also a need to feel safe and a need to protect and be protected, right? At a very the highest manifestation of the energy, right? Now, it's also very, if you want to make connections with Cancer energy, think about memory. Memory to a Cancer is very special. I like to highlight William Faulkner, the great writer. The past is the present, right? The past is the present. This is a very Cancer idea. So the more you can connect to memory, it's that you will feel at home, and Cancers like to feel at home. So there's a difference between this is my house, or this is my home, right? And so questions of how do you put a home together? How do you make a home? How do you feel at home? What's family, right? Is your blood relatives? What's family? Who's your family, right? How do questions of safety, questions of, new list of nurturing and protection. These are questions to be asking yourself when energy is in Cancer. And you want to bring this in to your own life and to the lives of others. So we're going to talk about, I just learned, I didn't even realize, June 20th. So June 21st, summer solstice. Okay, my birthday. June 20th was World Refugee Day. I didn't even know that. And I just thought, how amazing. What an amazing astrological day for World Refugee Day, because it involves one, transitional energy. And yeah, if you're a refugee, you are in transition. I mean, you could not be in more transition. You are not just, oh, I think I'll move. Oh, where do I want to live? You are fleeing. You are fleeing your home. Okay. So transitional energy into Cancer, that can really help us connect and empathize with how a refugee might feel, right? Because you gotta flee. You don't feel safe. You don't. You gotta. You're trying to. Okay, I gotta make a home where I'm safe, and that's a human right to have a home. Okay, it's a right to feel safe. I think I even just heard. I think I just watched Stephanie Rule, and I just heard Ben Stiller say that he was saying that it's a right to feel safe. Okay. So, all right. So these are really good themes and issues to be contemplating under a Cancer sun. All right. Now, all right, we got the watery Cancer. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the Cancer, but just to keep in mind, we have that fiery Aries Mars. All right. And so it's very spicy energy with that. They create a square. They're both cardinal signs. They share a modality. Okay. And every solstice and equinox, yep, is in a cardinal sign. The Aries is obviously spring equinox. We got Libra with the fall. Okay. So, cardinal signs are about individual initiative. It's finding ways to move forward. It's about, it's like you don't wait to be asked, you offer your opinion, your help, you offer it. Okay. So even though Cancer is sensitive and feeling and watery, it's extremely strong energy because of the modality. Okay. And it's really, but we want to think about, all right, we've got the Aries, and you can check out last week's episode where I like whatever Mars is in, I like to take it through the chart for you because it makes things happen. It is warrior energy, and Aries is warrior energy. So Mars loves to be in Aries. It's extra warrior. So you really want to engage and make sure that you're using it wisely so it doesn't use you. So you want to, I say, fight for someone instead of with. And you don't just want to, because you can have, Aries is like, you can have a bad temper. You can have explosive energy with that. So when you combine Aries and Cancer, this is the gift. It's find, what do you want to fight for? If you have Aries and Cancer in your chart, well, typically you're going to fight for people to feel safe and protected. It's going to really, like a refugee situation. If you have Aries and Cancer, that could stimulate you to do something. So you want to look for, like, in your chart, where is the most aggressive energy, and then you look for, like, okay, well, what is the other energy, because it's going to show how you filter that aggression through, right? Like, what house is it activating and what's the energy. So that's a really good combination of, if you connect to the desire to feel safe and protected, that everybody deserves the right to have a home, that, what happens when people aren't nurtured, right? And then you have Aries energy. Fight for that. Fight for that for yourself and for others. Okay, so that's a really good, and that's the energy. And so even if it's not in your chart right now, that energy is in the is happening right now. So that energy, we can all connect to it. It's a little bit easier. Okay. All right. Now, okay, then we got water. Water. Yeah, we got all the air with the Gemini, right? And Gemini has been elevated through several oracle spreads. So we got to still think. Okay, we still need our thinking caps. Okay. All right, we're still thinking. We're not just gonna yeah, we're gonna think, but we're also gonna feel, and that's gonna bring balance. It's gonna bring a holistic approach because our minds are connected to our bodies, right? Yeah. So it's like heart and mind. All right. So water just means, feel for yourself, feel for others, and then, learn. It's a way to learn, just to say, okay, and Cancer, I'll tell you, when I say it's sensitive, Cancers can get a little moody. They can get their feelings hurt. Even when you have water signs of any water, because you feel somebody when they, oh, that wasn't nice what you said or did. It's like, so we can get our feelings hurt when you have water. Where some of the other signs, it's what air is more detached. You can like, oh yes, that person just insulted me. Well, that was illogical. I'm gonna point out to you that how your insult was not logical at all, and I'm not going to be impacted by it. So there are benefits of everything. So right now, we get to become, this is like our human, this is like this is going to be the human part, right? Okay. I think of like Kate McKinnon, which is really funny. Kate McKinnon impersonating Hillary Clinton. Even though Hillary Clinton has Scorpio and a Pisces moon, she feels so much. But because when you have, there is an extremely intellectual quality to her chart, that then sometimes people can connect to that. And then it's like, oh, okay. And we almost make fun of when Kate McKinnon was like, oh, my human parent, and it was kind of funny, but she actually, tremendous empathy when you really can listen to her. That's a Scorpio passion, and that's water. It's water. It's just strong because that's Scorpio. But the Cancer is more sensitive. Okay. All right. Now, all right. So when we are looking at that, so keep in mind some of these ideas. Now, also, um, oh yeah, and we had Juneteenth. That was a big. That's close to. We had several big days there with a lot of energy. You talk about the past is the present with Juneteenth, right? What can we learn from keeping that past in the present to make sure that, because we have systemic racism, right? So it's still close enough to that transitioning energy to be like, yeah, let's think about how can we, learn from the past to make sure that we're not repeating the past and all of that. So there's like a lot of intense, thoughtful energy uh, that's been happening recently that I was like, okay. Now it's also Pride Month. So, okay, this is another thing. It's like we switched into the Cancer part of Pride Month. So let's make sure, like, think about LGBTQ. I mean, they are not safe totally in this country in parts. There's a lot of prejudice, right? So that's another, it's like, we need to fight for everyone to feel safe. I mean, and I was just seeing with the January 6th hearings, we had Shay Ross and Ruby Freeman, and they were a couple of election workers, and they were talking about how they received death threats and they didn't feel safe. They were just trying to do their duty, right? Make sure we have fair elections. And then they got death threats because they refused to manipulate vote counts. Oh my gosh. So it's like there are issues of people not feeling safe right now. That's a Cancer issue. And what can we do if maybe you're not the most empathetic to that? Now's the time to connect and really think about, well, what can we do? Right? Because that's how we contribute to the group. And if this is what you have in spades because this is you got Cancer, well, then help others. Help others, constantly remind them of that. Okay, because that's really important. All right. Oh yeah, I always like to quote. I do always like to quote, or not quote, just bring up Marcel Proust, my mom's favorite writer, and he had Mercury in Cancer, like me. He had Sun and Mercury in Cancer, but I would say, that really is, you think of the Madeleines. It's a very famous part of like, oh, he ate a Madeleine and he was transported. He was transported to his childhood, and so the senses, Cancer, connect to your senses. It's similar to Taurus in that way. Cancer and Taurus have similarities. It's comfort, food, the senses, smells, all of the beautiful senses. Connect to them and then journal. I say with energy and Cancer, journal. Connect to your senses and then journal those connections. And I think I even talked about Jose Andres with the Taurus energy, with the food, because food is Taurus, but food is also Cancer because it's comfort. It's comfort food, right? And I mean, that even combines refugee work. And because he was going into Poland and Romania, and then he went into Texas, I mean, wherever he's needed. And he's creating food that, so it's to help people to bring comfort, right? So that's a Cancer activity. Cook something for somebody that activates the taste and the smell, right? And maybe something from your childhood or from a happy memory. We don't all have happy childhoods, but try to have memories from your happiest times. And that's going to be a beautiful Cancer activity. And people who have Cancer in their chart, like William Faulkner and Marcel Proust, they're a little bit, that comes a little bit more easily to them. And that's why we like to really engage in their creations. Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Uh, an artist I listen to, uh, Brandon Flowers of The Killers. I think his birthday's right around the summer solstice. So I think he has a stellium in Cancer. Now, I bring that up because any stellium also creates Aries energy. And because we've got Mars in Aries, he's just kind of naturally fitting in with what's going on right now with the so it's like the sensitive. And one of their songs, they quote, I'm pretty sure they are inspired from a Hunter S. Thompson poem. So, think it's like very, so just think about the sensitivity of Cancer, and then with the Aries, the fierceness, and the pioneering quality of Aries. It's a very unusual dynamic combination that can sometimes you be like, ooh, who are you? Ooh, what? It's that kind of energy because water and fire, you get a little out of it, too much water, ooh, puts the fire out, but then, not enough. It's like, then it's like, wait, so it's like, ooh, okay, we got to like balance each other out. And then it's dynamic and really exciting. Okay. And it makes wonderful things happen. Okay. Now, all right. Yeah. So, all right. So let me just look. All right. So let's go ahead and I will start the Oracle card spread. All right. And if I have time, I don't know how much time I have to talk about Mars and Aries through the houses. We'll see. But in generally, Mars and Aries, Mars is action, is how you're going to take action. We are encouraged to take fearless actions. I mean, that doesn't mean crazy, and that doesn't mean crazy actions. Okay, it doesn't mean, oh, I'll jump out of the plane without a parachute. No, I mean, come on, it's like let's be fearless, be pioneering, and fight for, but also understand that you can really burn yourself up with this energy. So the Cancer's nice in that it lets you pace yourself. Okay. All right. And regenerate with, Cancer's also, you need some downtime. I always say, make sure your home is how you want it, right? Because no matter how aggressive you are in public or at your work, right? When you're home, if you have a Cancer rising or a Cancer sun or moon, especially the ruler of the chart, you're going to want to come home, and you need to feel safe and protected, and that you can relax. And that's how you rejuvenate, right? So pay attention, make sure, people with whom you live understand that, right? So that's something. So think about that. And yeah, if you feel yourself getting moody, it's like you want to give yourself a hug, or a bubble bath, or it's like some kind of little, wrap yourself in some kind of little cocoon or something like that. That's going to be good. And of course, Cancer is, yeah, you go into those water activities. So just pick your water activity that you really like. You can have okay, I'm gonna stay in. Okay, I'm staying in frame. Okay, there we go. You can have yeah, uh, flotation stuff or fishing, you know. It's like, yeah, just go fishing. Yeah, I can help you connect to your water element. I really find I find it really helpful. Connect to your element, right? So so what is it? Is it, and if you have a mixture, well then make sure you do, okay, I'm gonna do water today and I'm gonna do, some fire tomorrow and whatever. Just make sure you're connecting, right, to your element. Okay, so now we have several layers to the summer solstice spread. So we'll see how many layers I can do today, and then we'll add more layers as we go on. So just keep in mind, oh yeah, when one of the Earth's poles has its greatest tilt towards the sun, it creates the longest day of sunlight. Yeah, so that's why, it's about, we want to really nurture, and it's areas to illuminate because it's the longest day of sunlight. So we want to illuminate these areas, right? It's like, okay, so all right, so we're going to pick some cards. We're going to pick cards to embrace, right? Embrace and nurture, areas to embrace, areas to nurture, and what is a path to elimination? To illumination. Yeah, Pluto is that path. Okay. To illumination. And then also areas that are going to encourage us to um, feel safe and protected and things like that. Okay, so this is like just a special, on top of, we have sun in Cancer sign, sun in Cancer spreads. This is just like an extra layer of protection. This is an extra layer of nurturing. Yeah, a little extra cushioning. Okay, that's how you can view this. Okay, because then the sun in Cancer spread will go a little more into it, but we're gonna have a little extra layer. Okay. Okay, so here's an area, yeah, that it will really help us to embrace, to just feel extra safe. Okay, yeah. All right. It's like we want to feel safe and protected, and okay, or know that we are safe and protected to kind of do this. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. Amen. Oh my, you know what? Okay, what did I just say? I accidentally said elimination, and I said, oh, that's Pluto. I just got the Pluto card. Okay, all right, I'm in sync with these cards. Okay, so Plutonian energy is going to help us feel safe. All right, you know what that means? That means embrace transformation. That is, I always say transformation is growth. This is the Phoenix will rise energy. This is embrace real regeneration and rejuvenation. There is no death. There is no death. There is beautiful rebirth. Oh my gosh. And this is also Pluto. People forget Pluto is power. Pluto is power. And you know what? Okay, this highlights Scorpio energy, which I was also talking about. Well, guess what? The new moon in Taurus spread and the new moon in Gemini, Scorpio energy came up in both of those readings. And so that means we need Scorpio energy, right? So this is reiterating that we need the intense, transformational, truthful, and powerful energy of Scorpio, okay? All right, and that's how we're going to feel safe. I always say, yeah, live in truth, man, okay? When you live in truth, that's Plutonian. Embrace your power, right? Reclaim the agency and reclaim your agency and embrace power. And now we don't abuse power. This is not about abusing power, right? Okay, this is about embracing your own power, feeling empowered. And this can, and let's balance power plays, right? Because people are not feeling safe if there are horrific power plays going on. So, woo! And I just said that. Woo! And you know what? Like, it's like, if you want to nurture, let's try to eliminate activities that maybe aren't making us feel safe and maybe aren't so nurturing. And let's try to adopt things that help us to feel that. you know? Anyway, I think that's like, yeah, it's like accentuate the positive. That's another card, but it's like, okay, wow. Woo. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get another card. All right. So now let's embrace this energy to help us nurture, right? This is going to, if we embrace this, it's going to be a little bit easier to nurture ourselves as well as others. Okay, okay. Oh yeah, and Cancer is also the desire for the familiar sometimes. So, and that's also what's so exciting about Cancer and Aries right now. Aries is new. Aries is, but I've done that. I don't want to do that again. I've already done that. But we've done that. Let's do something else. But we've already gone there. and so and Cancer is, but I haven't done that. But we haven't gone there. So it's like so we need to embrace, try to find maybe a safe way to do something new. Or do it with friends, get somebody you really love and trust, and then go do something exciting, so then you can do something fearless, but you also feel safe. So you want to combine those two kinds of energies, or bring along a very familiar comfort food and do an exciting activity, something like that. Yeah. Okay. All righty. So, okay, let's do this and let's embrace this energy to help nurture ourselves and nurture others. All right. Okay, dokie, okay, dokie. All right. Oh man. The moon. Okay, now you know what? The moon, I should have pulled this card anyway because the moon is connected to Cancer. All right. Now we got hidden forces are at play. Ooh, okay. Hidden forces, we got it up right. Okay, we got to ask our guides and ask ourselves and ask our guides to lift the veils and bring clarity to this situation. We got hidden forces are in play. That means we got to really connect to the most sensitive, intuitive parts that Cancer allows. Okay. All right. And all right, to nurture ourselves, maybe make sure don't skip your meditation, do something that's reflective, that allows for quiet time, so that you can be, I just saw a clip of I don't even know what it was called, but it was about the writer Thomas Wolfe, who wrote Look Homeward Angel, and played by Jude Law. And it was interesting because he was having a scene with his wife, played by Nicole Kidman, and she was saying, "You need to spend some time alone," because he was like, "Let's go on a trip, come with me." And she said, "No, you need to spend time alone." And he's like, "I'm alone all day writing." And she said, "No, you're not. You're with your characters. You're not." And it is true. It's like artists, like when you're always, because I'm a writer too, you're always, the characters are talking to each other. And if hidden forces are in play and you want to connect to that energy, you do need to maybe do like a real, like that's what she was getting at in that moment of, you need time where you're not talking to your characters, where maybe you really are able to meditate or reflect and allow for some real hidden knowledge to bubble to the surface. Okay. So, ooh, okay. All right. All right. I tell you, I'm part of the group. Okay. I'm not above the group. I'm part of the group. And if you're listening, guess what? It doesn't even matter the reason you're listening. By you listening, you're part of the group. And these messages are for you as much as they are for me. Yeah. So, yeah, how about that? Okay. So now, all right. Boy, oh boy. Now we're gonna do a couple layers. Okay, so for this layer, let's get a path to illumination. We can have more than one path, right? We can have like, okay, but this is gonna help us if we embrace this energy. All right, it will get us on a path toward illumination. I love illumination because it's the truth. I'm Scorpio rising. I love the truth, man. I gotta know what's going on. Okay. Wow. Oh, I just saw a little quote I wrote. Art is an ever blossoming flower. That's beautiful. That's Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah. That's just a nice quote. That's just a nice quote. Okay. All right, here. Woo! we're going to take it because I just kind of popped. Okay. Path to illumination. Oh my gosh. We got a Mercury retrograde and we got it reversed, which is, guess what? Worth the wait. Phew. Okay. I was beginning to wonder if this is going to be, I've been doing a lot of stuff thinking, is this worth it? Oh my gosh. All right. It's going to be worth the wait. We are on a path, folks, that it's going to lead to some illumination and it's going to be worth this long process. Okay. Because some, all right. So, all right. That's, all right. Worth the wait. That's excellent. Now, and the water moon is very reflective. All right. So, this also, even reversed retrograde energy with moon, it means definitely, okay, meditate, do what you need, spend time in nature, do what you need to journal. This is beautiful journal, right? So you can just have all that beautiful hidden knowledge bubble to the surface. And we want to be a little more thoughtful. So then we can, this is a very powerful, because Pluto's powerful, but is very thoughtful. This is powerful and thoughtful. First layer of energy. Wow. I mean, that's amazing. You pick a few cards and it's like, you can get a big bang for your buck for that. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? Okay. All right. So we're going to do another layer. I'm going to pick, yeah, we're going to do another layer because that was pretty powerful. Okay. So we're going to pick a card, another card to say, if we embrace this energy, it will help us to feel more protected, and it will help us to either embrace it to feel protected or embrace this energy to say, you know what, I'm going to be able to help protect somebody with this, if you embrace this energy. That's really interesting. And, the question of civility, because Cancer and Aries, it creates a square. It's a very dynamic energy right now. And Mars in Aries is so explosive. I mean, I mentioned last week when the January 6th insurrection happened, Mars was 29 degrees Aries. It was, so it makes people really want to go to battle and fight. So it's still very dynamic energy. And there was a lot of, with some of the programs that I was watching, the question of civility. Lisa Desjardins on the PBS NewsHour with Judy Woodruff. She had a whole segment on, she was showing a couple of ads that were incredibly aggressive, political ads that were violent. And we know we're polarized, but there's a total lack of civility going on. And she was highlighting that. And then and then I saw what David Brooks and David Gergen, they were talking about, because they were honoring Mark Shields. And I didn't know that much about that reporter. But basically, they were making the point of, when they got into the business, we would, debate and it would be civil, and you weren't, like David Gergen was saying, you never thought for a second the person, who held your opposite opinion sitting next to you would stab you in the back. You were expecting a pat on the back from that person. It's like we would go at it and then we'd pat each other on the back. And now it's like, are you going to get stabbed in the back? What's going on? What's going on? And then David Brooks said, debate versus discussion, like debate. It's like, there's just a really aggressive quality that we can't even just have a conversation. So, those issues are, with this energy, it's a little bit harder with Mars and Aries. So like, we connect to our nurturing, feeling self. If we connect to the highest energy of both of those, it's very, very powerful. Oh, I wrote it down. Hillary Clinton said, politics should be the art of addition, not subtraction. I talk about this all the time. We got to be inclusive, not exclusive. Okay. Now that's Sagittarius, but it's just saying we have to work harder to be inclusive when energy doesn't naturally flow. Okay. We're going to mix water and fire. Okay. And we got to mix the earthy Taurus. We got to bring in the Gemini because that energy is still present. We got all the elements, man. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's pick energy to embrace, to feel protected, and to also help others feel protected. Okay. Because we really want to celebrate the summer solstice. It's really important energy. And boy, do we need to nurture. And isn't that amazing that at Independence Day, we have fireworks under a Cancer sun? So we're combined, but it's a day to really, the past is the present. We're nurturing our country. That's what we're really supposed to be doing with that. We're celebrating that we need to nurture democracy, because democracy is vulnerable, right? And that's another Aries. You know what? I've said this maybe when the sun was in Aries. When okay, Mars is in Aries, what we can do. Bob Woodward said, democracy is an idea. Okay, he's I've heard him say that more than once. And then I heard Eddie Glaude say, it's an idea, but it's an idea we must fight for. He brought in the word fight, and I'm like, that's Aries. So with Mars in Aries, and then we've got the Cancer sun, we've got Independence Day coming up. We need to fight for the idea of democracy. We need to fight for that in a nurture, in with the idea of nurturing it. How can we nurture democracy? Because it's a little sick right now. We got to nurture it. We got to protect it, right? And we do that by fighting for it. That's a beautiful combination of those energies. And you can, think about that when you're celebrating that day. Okay. All right. So let's pick a day about protection. Let's get some protection. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, man. All right, we got the Mercury card. We got it reversed. Something to talk about. This is very reflective, powerful energy. And this also is saying, what did I just say about the civility? We are not all on the same page. Okay, that's for sure. When you get this reversed, if we got something to talk about, yeah, that's fun. That's a Bonnie Raitt song. Yeah, that's from a Julia Roberts movie. Yeah, we got to talk. We got to use, this is, okay, let your verbal skills heal old wounds. That means we got to heal. We got wounds and we got to heal them. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. And your power lies within your words. Well, we got the Pluto power card. So if you're going to get the Pluto card with this, oh my goodness. And then you tie in the moon, the hidden forces. It is, we gotta really communicate. Okay. That's Mercury is communication. Yeah. We got to communicate what's really going on, our deepest feelings. And that's, that is going to help protect you, and it's going to help to protect others. Yeah. Well, some people need the voice, right? We need people who are disenfranchised, right? People who don't have resources. I mean, think of Cory Bush. It is expensive to be low wealth. We got this inflation, we got gas prices, over the moon. It's like incredible. So it's, we have to fight for people who, that's something to talk about, who are disenfranchised, because everyone's got to pay everyone with the car's got to pay that. So it is expensive to be low wealth. You think you got it bad, and then you've got somebody they got to go to the grocery, they got to buy the same things you do, and they don't have that. So that's a way to use words for that. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and we're going to do nurture again, because we're so fragmented. We need so much nurturing. I'm going to double down on the nurturing. Okay. Let's embrace this energy so we can nurture ourselves and nurture others. And okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, then I'll do a couple more. Oh yeah, I'll do a couple more Mars and Aries quotes. Okay. All right. Amen. Okay, here we go. Aquarius energy. Okay. All right, let's think about this. If we need to nurture ourselves and others, guess what? Aquarius is about the group. In a nurturing question, Aquarius is about the group. All right. And it's saying you don't have to give up your individuality. Honor your uniqueness, honor your original self, contribute your original talent, and but make sure you're benefiting the group. Okay. This is group. And this is not, well, that's good for me. I don't care what's good for you. Aquarius is what's good, what do we need to do? And then what talent do I have to help the group reach a certain goal? And one of it is making sure Aquarians have to remind people, hey man, we're all different. Let's stop being so judgy. Okay, let's embrace difference. Let's celebrate difference. It's also very rebellious energy. Okay, so let's make sure, because it's reform. So make sure that we are rebels with a cause. That's the James Dean. Okay, be a rebel. Natalie Wood, yeah. Sal Mineo, okay. Rebel with a cause. All right, don't just no, or I'm not going to let that person do that because I just feel rebellious. No, be rebellious to reform, so somebody then has rights and somebody can feel safe and somebody has a home, that kind of thing, or so the group can thrive. Why is the group suffering? Do you have an individual talent that's going to make that better? Contribute. And also make sure it's like celebrate. To thine own self be true. Yeah, that's the Hamlet. That's Polonius. I mean, so it's like we got to celebrate. And that's a beautiful card to get for Pride Month too, because it's Aquarius celebrates. We have cultural imprint of what society expects. Okay, you know what I thought about? Leslie Stahl did an amazing interview with Trevor Noah, and they had this question about Dave Chappelle. Okay, because Dave Chappelle did some shocking things and is very rebellious, and he's very much, I don't even know what his energy is. I have to look it up, but it's he challenges, Dave Chappelle challenges the cultural imprint in a big way and gets into trouble all the time, right? And Leslie Stahl put Trevor Noah on the spot and said, "Well, what do you think?" And he's like, and he was saying, well, he has embraced nuanced thinking, okay? And he was saying, well, there's more than one side, and there's more than one view. And so he was putting forth this beautiful duality that was embracing mutability, which is connected to Gemini and Pisces, and the mutable signs, which have come up a lot in the last two spreads. Okay, and then Leslie Stahl said, but doesn't society tell us what to do? And he was saying, uh okay, but then we have to say, we don't just go with what society says. We have to then challenge that. We have to then say, we have to question that and see that that there's more than one side to something. Okay, that's what society says, but then that's what people over here, and then, oh, people over here say this, and it was just like this beautiful dual moment. And that's also very Aquarius, that's Aquarius, Pisces, Sag moment of, you know, let's, okay, the cultural imprint. What does society say? All right, we need to look at that, but we don't just blindly follow it, right? We question it and we add nuanced thinking to it. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. And I thought of just because I don't know, I have Joe Rogan written, it's on a post-it note. It was like, oh yeah, Joe Rogan. Okay. There was this thing with Joe Rogan. He got in trouble for doing something that was uh there was a whole issue of Joe Rogan. Is he racist and that? And that was again when that was a great moment when I'm always quoting, Trevor Noah, but he was saying, you know what? We have to, this is my metric now too, but it's his, so I have to like credit him. It's like before we judge somebody, we have to say what is done consistently and consciously. It's the best metric. It's what we need to use. And so Aquarius can also, that can put forth that idea of saying, you know what? We need to really embrace alternative ways of thinking. And so let's come up with, the Gemini mutability, the Piscean mutability nuanced of, let's look more closely at this. Okay, consistency, consciously, what's going on here, right? And then the Aquarius allows for the individual uniqueness alternative approach to that. Okay, so we got, I'm trying to also include the inspirational messages that were selected for those new moons, because that's part of my job, is to say those messages are now going to be combined with this, because we are layering, because I got a stellium in Gemini, yeah, and I'm going to layer, and Scorpio, I'm going to go deep. So okay, all right. Now, all right. Now it is talking about, okay. So now I'm going to pick a card, another path to illumination. Okay, just so we have, yeah. we got a little extra help with that because illumination is so important. All right. Okay. Amen. Gemini energy. Okay, yeah. So see, Gemini is still needed, man. And it's the path to illumination. Okay, we did get it reversed, which means, okay, this is what it means. Path to illumination. This is gonna highlight the Mercury. Mercury is connected. It's gonna be in our communication. All right. So we gotta, with all the feeling water, we gotta keep thinking. Okay. We must keep thinking and honor our thoughts, value our thoughts. This is about massive communication. All right. And this is also about learning. It's like teach what you know, learn what you don't know. So this is teaching, learning, it's writing, but it is, yeah, communication. So get your thoughts in order. Aquarius is air. So air is important. We have two air signs elevated. So we really do need to be communicating our ideas because there are probably a lot of different ideas going on if we got to talk about something to talk about and we got Pluto and retrograde and moon. Yeah. So it's a time to kind of like, okay, let's reflect on you think this and you think that and what's a new approach, and then it's like, okay, use the Geminis. Now this also means there are Geminis who may be under the weather in the group, who may not be in balance. So what can happen is one, I tell you, I get a little like, whoo, okay, a little frenetic. I gotta like I need more meditation. So I know what this means for me. But this can mean Geminis can be sick in the group. So make sure that Geminis, um, the healthy Geminis, I mean, all Geminis contribute what you can, right? Make sure that you're nurturing. This is also Geminis need extra nurturing right now under the Cancer sun. With this, if this is a beautiful summer solstice, yeah, spread. Make sure that Geminis, you do everything you can to nurture yourself and make sure that people in the group, will you please pay extra attention to Geminis and make sure that they get the nurturing healing that they need. Yeah, we had double Virgo not in balance last week. I mean, reverse, which meant they could have been overtaxed, overextended, right? It just means maybe you have too much on your plate. But because we got to make sure that we stay in balance. Okay. So, but this is also dual. This is duality. And Virgo Sagittarius are also beautiful, mutable signs. Yeah. And we've got Jupiter, which is connected to Sag. So we need the big picture, beautiful big picture Jupiter thinking, because that was in a big new moon spread. Yeah. So we need that. And the Virgos are like the mechanics and reminds us, how we got to be of service. Okay. Now, just to talk a little bit more about, we're gonna pick more cards, but I was thinking of the whole refugee versus immigrant because the World Refugee Day, and it's so connected to that energy. I saw Andy Garcia. He's got a new movie with Gloria Estefan, and it reminded me of one of my all-time favorite movies. And I was like, it's like I can like have a favorite movie, and I'm like, what was it called? But The Lost City. But it's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna say a little bit about it, and then you go watch it because it combines this idea of uh, what happens when we are more than one person. And guess what? We got the Gemini card, which is Geminis are more than one person. I mean, that's the mutability, right? And then Cancering is the nurturing, and it's the idea of home and the idea of being more than one person. So when you are a refugee, right, we have to remember that's very different from being an immigrant, right? Because you don't choose to become a refugee. You're forced, you're fleeing. And then an immigrant, yeah, you can be forced, but it's a little bit different. And then some immigrants say, I think it was Gloria Stefan said, one of the characters was asked, are you an immigrant? And he says, I'm in exile. And I have a lot of Cuban friends and people in my life who've been very important to me and are important to me. And that was one thing I learned because I grew up in Kentucky. I didn't grow up with, around, Cubans necessarily. So then, that was a big introduction of, we have to remember, right? We make all these assumptions, and that is, of nurturing and of the importance of what it is to feel at home. And we have to be so sensitive that there are so many artists, they never really feel at home, right? For a lot, for a lot of it's like, ooh, and immigrants, it's like, are you talking to somebody who you think has totally assimilated? Maybe they don't even want to assimilate, so then maybe you need to help them to, it's like, well, help them figure out what they really want and need, and then understand that. It's like, try to, because that will enrich their experience here, to be understood, that they feel that they are in exile, even if you can't, not as if you can like fix the situation, but it's like, let's nurture the situation. So because that's a very feeling Cancer connection, right? And then if there is a way to reform something to help them feel at home. So I just thought these were really beautiful issues under a Cancer sun, to really be thinking about. And then the mutability of that. Oh yes, the lost city. Okay, this was my point with that. It's this idea of, who are you when you're both, right? Who are you when you're one or two things? And how can you raise your comfort level, which is Cancer? How can you feel at home, right? In your body, anywhere, right? That's a Cancer idea. It's feeling at home. Okay. So he at the end of the movie, I won't say too much. Okay, but a little spoiler alert. I won't say too much, but there is something he physicalizes the stress that his character has withheld, tremendous stress, the entire movie. And then in the most dynamic, freeing movement, he physicalizes the part of himself that has not been released, because we keep parts of ourselves hidden, right? Hidden forces are in play. I thought of that movie before, but when I saw that, that's that idea of what is hidden in us and what are ways to release it. We can release it through words, but we can release it through dance. And you see that there's a struggle where he's part of two different worlds, right? And how do we fit in? And we may not be able to fit in completely. We may not, and that's okay. And that's why I always talk about listen to music and dance, because it will help you. When I say transmute your energy, I'm talking about it will help you feel whole. It will help bring these different parts that we all have inside of ourselves. And when we physicalize them, we're acknowledging the different parts, and then we become whole. And he does that. So just watch that movie and you're going to know what I'm talking about, where he's able to, you see the struggle and he becomes more whole in that moment. And so find the music that makes you want to dance or makes you want to sing. Okay. That's really important. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is something there. Oh yeah, there was something on Mikhail Baryshnikov, which also dancing. And so just I talk a lot about music and movement, but it's like dance, it is I need to do more of it now. I've not been done enough. And it's how to convert competing energy within yourself. It's like, if you feel there's competing energy within Andy Garcia's character in that movie, and then it's like, and then it just, he's able to physicalize the competing energy in a way that just takes your breath away. And also I can give another thing about art with that, but I think that's enough for that one. Okay, I mean, just for art, maybe with under the Leo sun, because Leo is so about art. I'll talk about a great lesson I learned artistically from that movie. But okay, all right. So Taurus value. See, sometimes I make these notes. I wrote down Taurus value, Harry Winston jewels. Oh yeah, there's a beautiful picture of I go walking a lot, and there's a beautiful picture of on a cover of this beautiful necklace, and it says, oh, Harry Winston. And this was something that I was going to make because we have the new moon in Taurus that's still going, And we got the Libra card. The Libra card just kind of popped out when I was doing this. Libra is also about beauty. So I was thinking about, value and beauty. And so like that's like those jewels are valuable, right? Like it's like Taurus is going to be more like it's got to like have value, real value. Whereas something else can be beautiful, but maybe it can be like you're okay to spend less on it. So sometimes, people are a little confused about, Taurus is like, oh, I'll pay more to get exactly what I want, you know? It's like, and so I was just picturing that necklace because I passed by that store and I was like, oh, that's a little lesson for because the new moon in Taurus is still in effect. So it's still a time to be figuring out what do you value and to go ahead if you can make a little extra effort to get what you want because it gives you permission because that energy is still in effect. And then Libra, you talk about civility. Libra popped out. We need to embrace balance, civility, balancing the scales, equality. Yeah, all of that. Okay, another Cancer thing. Oh yeah, these are some things that just popped into my mind that I thought. On Westworld, you have the Tandy. It's like Tandy Newton. It's like why do I feel like I'm on her name? Okay, um, the Tandy Newton character. She remembers all of her past storylines. If you watch that, it's like I mean this you find this out pretty early on, but they have they have storylines that they do and she then all of a sudden, her character starts to remember all these past storylines. It's like she becomes sentient and all of a sudden her life has this just incredible meaning. And that's Cancer energy of that's what I was trying to say of the past is the present. You don't forget it. Cancers don't forget the past. And it informs everything they do. And you say, yeah, everybody's like that, but cancers even are more. And it really informs the present in a way that um it then and it also gives meaning and that's how cancers find meaning in something. So that was I just thought of that and I thought oh that's yeah because her whole that it's she's like a robot kind of thing but it's like her whole life becomes something because she realizes she's had different experiences. She doesn't just have the one storyline. And I was like, you know, okay. Oh yeah, okay. Now I talk about how sensitive Cancer is, and I know on the card. Oh, okay. All right. Oh yeah, which you can get on Amazon. Yeah, and you can check out my website, Heather Ariel's House of Astrology, Ariel's Astrology. You can go on Amazon to get my deck. That's the easiest. Um, I know it's a mother and child. Okay, that's a very traditional idea of nurturing. But then I thought of like, oh, Harrison Ford is Cancer. And he seems like one of the all-time biggest action figures, right? Stars, right? So you're like, oh, but he's Cancer. But it's like it means so it doesn't mean that you're gonna be like this. It doesn't mean you don't have other things in your chart that but I think that's why he's so appealing. Like my good friend Vanessa from a long time ago, that was her favorite, and she was very sophisticated. So it's like there's an appealing quality where it's like he's so strong but sensitive, right? There's like a that's the Cancer, like you feel safe with a Cancer, whether they're whatever gender, right? It's like you Cancers, you feel safe with them. There's a familiar quality. They can feel like family in a good way. And so even when they're like this big action star, I think that's part of his appeal, you know? Yeah. And then, okay. And then, I mean, you got Meryl Streep, who has a birthday close to mine. So that's why I'm always aware of people. Then she's just, oh, the feeling is so great, right? When you just feel um, her intense love, right? When you see her act, it's, it's just, you feel that's a very Cancer watery feeling, right? That is very good for acting. So, but I thought of that because sometimes people say, you gotta. I'm gonna talk about sun signs because I also thought about Mike Pence and I was watching him with this January 6th because he's in the news a lot and he has a Gemini sun, and but he's so stable for a Gemini sun and like Gemini can be like it's like and he's measured the way he speaks. There's like a, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about you can't just be judged by your sun sign. There are other factors in the chart that are going to impact that. So yes, you have those qualities, but that's why people with the same sun sign can appear so different. It's called a sun signature. And I just thought of that, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Uh, we're going to talk about that probably next week, because that's a really good way also to look at your chart to make sure you know your sun signature. Okay. And then let me see. I'm just seeing in the last couple of minutes to see if there's anything, because you know what? I made some notes, and then I'm like, well, why make notes if I'm not going to get to them? Oh my gosh. Ah, okay. Okay. So, yeah, a couple minutes now. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I have a little timer. Okay, so just think Mars and Aries. Now, I've talked about this in the past, but this is perfect for Mars and Aries. All right. Think of Malcolm X. I talked about this in the movie I saw by Regina King, One Night in Miami. What's your weapon, right? Even though, I mean, I don't really think like, oh, weapon, but that's Aries. What's your weapon? And there's a character, Sam Cooke, and it's like, oh, voice is the weapon, right? And you think of like, you think of like um, uh, Stephen Colbert, you think of Jim Carrey, you think of, like comedy is their weapon. And who thinks of comedy as a weapon? Comedy is a weapon, right? Your talent, view your talent as a weapon to then do good, right? To fight for instead of fighting with. And oh yeah, the Tanya Hardin. I love the I, Tanya. That's Margot Robbie and Sebastian Stan. And that's an amazing movie where ice skating is Tanya Hardin's weapon. Ice skating, so it's like you have to, that's very Aquarian. That's the Aquarian way. We each have a unique talent that we may just think is, maybe it's a talent, maybe it's entertaining, but we need to view it with Aries energy in the sky, that we need to fight for something. Go ahead and view it as a positive weapon to fight for and not with. And then depending on what's going on, I've also mentioned this, but it's important because people say, well, what does Aquarius mean? Aquarius then means, oh, if you're not in the mainstream, then that means that you are part of the LGBTQ. Okay. And I'm like, well, when or if LGBTQ comes the mainstream and everybody's that and just a few people or whatever, then all of a sudden that won't represent Aquarius. Aquarius and Uranus is different for each society, because it's whatever is the society considers is this is what you do. Okay, the people who are, but what about this and what about that, people who go against the center, that's the Aquarian. So it's going to be different depending on, so like right now we're in kind of a crazy world where, I brought up Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitt Romney. I mean, to vote for Ketanji Brown Jackson, that was a Mars and Aries moment. That was an amazing act of fearlessness. Okay, which when I was a kid, no, would not have been an act of fearlessness. But society, the cultural imprint is changing right now. Like for what society is deeming, that's a tremendous act of pioneering Aries heroic fearlessness. So that's another thing of looking at astrology. It's symbolic. So you may think this means that. And it's like, well, it's symbolic of what's going on right in society. So that's why if you're going to look at charts in the past for different people, you have to take in consideration, well, what was their culture like? What was their society like? What was their socioeconomic background like? That's why you're going to take in all this information when you're going to try to look at the chart of somebody. Okay, so all right, let me just see. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, and it's very much okay, just you know what? These are some good Mars and Aries quotes. I'm just going to throw them in. I've said them, but this should really bring home. Okay. You can go to knowyourvalue.com, Forbes.com. There's wonderful. I've quoted Tyra Banks and Huma Abedin in another one. But Tyra Banks, I'm fighting so you don't have to fight so hard. Okay, and this is I talk about Know Your Value all the time. So if you don't know what that is, you're really just tuning in for the first time. So that is just a wonderful program to value women of all ages, especially ages that maybe because of ageism, older women get valued too. So, and Huma Abedin says, do the thing that scares you the most. It will be worth it. Okay, these are Mars and Aries, right? I quoted these for Sun and Aries, Mars and Aries are go ahead and take these actions. Yeah, okay. And that's the whole Mika Brzezinski know your value, which I talk about all the time. And then this is a good one. Ursula von der Leyen. She said she was interviewed by Mika Brzezinski, and she was saying, stand up for your democracy. And I was talking about, we got to fight for democracy right now, right? And then Mika Brzezinski said, stand up for all democracies, right? So that's like, these are Mars is in Aries. Let's think about what do we want to fight for, because it energizes us. And the Aries in the group, yeah, show people how it is done. Okay. And then, oh, I love that. All right, I'm trying to, I'm keeping a list of quotes now, which I didn't used to do because, they're so meaningful. And I love John Batiste. If you listen to music, it will tell you what to do. Art tells us what to do. And so then that's very intuitive. So with the watery Cancer, when we're listening to music, just intuitively feel what we need to do with that. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Jon Stewart. I just saw this last night. He was honored for Mark Twain Humor Award, and I love Mark Twain and how important is wit and comedy, Mark Twain's weapon, and obviously comedy, Jon Stewart's weapon. You know, and huge things. Just figure out what that is and share it with that energy. Okay, now I just want to pick because boy, and all of this with all this going on. I always pick a card for the President, Joe Biden, and for Kamala Harris, VP, because we got to add some civility. And guess what? She's Libra. We got her card. All right. And that also means Aquarius, Geminis, Libras. Oh my gosh. We got the air signs. So yes, we got Cancer. We've got Taurus. We've got the, your cards. If your sign was called for one of the new moon spreads, it's still in effect. You can check my social media for that. Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. You can check that. And for this one, it means we still need the air. We still need our thoughts and lots of communication. Okay. All right. So let's pick a card to just say, if we can embrace this, maybe it'll help us to balance the scales of society and to maybe put some civility in so we can help President Biden. How are we going to help the president? Because I always say it doesn't matter who you vote for. The president, you gotta try to help the president do the job. Air. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we got all three air signs. We got Mercury. All right. That means we got to use our words. We have to share ideas. We have to debate, discuss, right? We really have to discuss, share ideas, communicate, honor our ideas, and then look, something to talk about. Okay. This is really powerful. This is really going to come down to powers of communication. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And the president, vice president before were both Geminis. Yeah. Wow. And Kamala Harris is an air sign, but we've got two. Okay. All right. Now let's pick a card for the VP. All right. Oh, that's a good quote. I'm just looking down. Pamela Adlon said, what was bad, like bad for my life, good for my show. She was talking, she's as an artist, as a creator, writer, and an actor. And that's something that's very, that's why journal, because Cancer can be go ahead and remember the painful memories you can heal by, journaling them. And it can be, what's bad for your life can be good for your art. Very painful, but true. Okay, let's pick. Oh yeah, and I love Katie Porter. And she has all these if she, like, one of her weapons is that she can explain the most difficult information in just a way that you're just like, oh, okay, got that, thank you, because I wasn't following that at all. So figure out what your unique talent is and make sure you share it. Okay. And Sue Tompkins, I love the way she talks about, I talk about that all the time, the rising sign, the ascendant. It's like, that is like the front door of your house. I love that. It's like she has an amazing way to describe astrology in ways that it's like, oh, okay, now I really get a very complicated idea. And you're like, oh, that's what that means. It's the energy you get off when you first meet somebody. Okay, like the front door of the house. That's great. Okay, this energy is going to help Kamala. Woo! Okay, oh my God. Okay, we're going to pick 2 cards because something just fell off. Okay. Oh, man. Oh my gosh. All right, we got 12th house, which is water, and we got earth. And earth is Taurus. Well, you know what? I did bring up. Okay, I brought up the Taurus energy. Okay, values and being practical. So it's like we have to really connect to our values, right? And the 12th house is very reflective and sensitive. And that involves poetry and real transcendent ideas, okay? Because 12th house is transcendent. When we combine it with all the air elements, if this is going to help, this is communicate transcendent ideas. We need to contribute ideas that help us all reach a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of tolerance, right? Of creativity. This is a very creative, poetic house. It's an empathetic house, right? So air, if we're going to help the people in charge right now, we need to communicate artistic, empathetic, and transcendent ideas. And make sure that we give ourselves some time so that we're not just like, Mars and Aries, because I'm a little like that right now. Like, make sure that you're meditating, make sure that you're doing things to then, so then we have the energy of like, okay, I meditated, I went I went for my walk. Okay, all right. I can contribute my ideas now. All right, so I will be taking pictures of these messages and putting them online. And I'll go ahead and pick a few more cards to add to the summer solstice spread because we want that nice, nuanced, layered spread. And oh yeah, the Aquarius, just because I just thought of Bill Maher I always quote him, with it's like he literally had politically incorrect. Okay, that's like an Aquarian title. So, if you have any idea, it's like it's okay. Like this says, let's just be a rebel with a cause though. Okay, we gotta make it worthwhile. So, all right, happy summer solstice. And I send nurturing healing energy to all of you. And I thank you for the nurturing healing energy that you're giving back. Okay, until next time, enjoy and embrace transformation.